Hey guys. So I wanted to tell you a story. The enemy threatened me yesterday in a dream state, and they want to pin something on me, like a bogus charge or whatever. You know what? If I let them control my life, you're always gonna be a slave. So I'm not really worried. But that mean what I told you yesterday about they're originally from Africa, you know what I mean? And at some point, otherwise they would not be upset. If I'm lying, they would not be upset about it. They would not care, right? Because it's not true. Because it's true, that why they're kind of they hate it, you know. But anyhow, forget about them for a second. Did you watch the video about this guy who was talking about how many Satans and stuff? I included yesterday, I think, in one of the video I posted. Anyhow, one of the things that he mentioned in that video, he said the women who had, you know, sex or with Satan, they became demonic. They became demonic because they carry the similar to genetic, because I told you serpent comes from, a female, right? But Satan, he's created to be a serpent. So that's why two serpent created this, and that why they became demonic. And the other thing, he says they were called sirens. They call them sirens because Lilith is one apparently, and yeah. So he mentioned that, and also he talks about Aluka. Aluka is apparently it's this demon, his blood-sucking demon that transform. It's like a human being. It's like a human being that that where Dracula comes from, right? So anyhow, he's transformed into a demon, a werewolf, and he's bloodthirsty. And if they don't get to feast on the blood, then they'll die, right? Anyhow, so that Luca had two daughters, and the interesting thing about the two daughters, what their names? One is Nonette, and the other one is called Governments. So you understand the word governments, where it came from? But anyhow, and yeah, so apparently they were in hell because what they've done. Because drinking blood is forbidden, is unclean, considered unclean. You cannot, even people do it now. Eating a steak with a little bit of blood on it is, it's unclean, right? Eating pork or piggies and stuff also considered unclean animals, right? You're not supposed to eat them, right? But people still, they have their bacon, they have this stuff that were forbidden from eating. And the third thing he talked about was the judgment on Satan or Shaitan and humanity, because humanity also is going to be judged, right? So he talks about that is fact, is going to happen regardless, and that's what they are trying to stop judgment from coming through. You know what I'm saying? They want to prolong it to abuse humanity a little bit more. So anyhow, that judgment is gonna come. There's no stopping it. So that was kind of, going on. And so that why they're targeting us, because for the longest time they're trying to hide our identity. They're trying to hide who we are. They don't want us to know who we are. When we figured out who we are, then they don't like it, because and then anyhow they spun all these lies about us to all these people, so these people would be on board. Hey, we all have free will, right? They have a choice. We were all given a choice, but you make the right choice. What happened to us is not just a sin against us, because okay, 144,000 are God elect, God favorite, not the one you see in the one you see in Israel. Those are the fake ones. That's not the God favorite. You know what I'm saying? When they were God referencing them, God favorite is not them. It's us. Back in the day, the 144,000 did something upsetted God. That why God scattered us all over the earth. You see, the 144,000 all over the earth. That not the Jews, these ones, you know. But you see in Israel, they're not the same one. Okay, those are the olive tree that does not produce. Why is reference in a Bible that they've been referenced as the olive tree that does not produce, right? So that means it's barren. It's not. This tree is a false tree. It's not a real tree that produces, you know, like a fruit or any type of vegetable, whatever. It's like all barren trees that do not produce fruits or a seed or whatnot. So that's what God is talking about. So they're not the real ones. Okay? They are just pretending to be us. They're pretending to be, you know. But anyhow, what else I want to talk about? Yeah, and remember the story I told you yesterday about the guy, mentally ill, you know. Anyhow, I was here in this park a lot, I would say, and I was sitting there on a ledge, recording a video and stuff, and he sat right there. You see that little light over there? There was a bunch of cars because I was during the day yesterday. So he sat there. He had a walker. He have a walker where he walks in this walker, and he sits on a walker like you could say he's like tired. No, he was just sitting there staring at me, sizing me up, and saying stuff in his language. He's from Eastern Europe, or I'm not really sure, but he's somewhere from that area, and anyhow, I ignored him. And I went to the coffee shop. And then when I was coming back, I went to the coffee shop. When I was coming back, he was sitting outside the building on his walker. And it was cold. He was not dressed to be sitting outside because it's really cold. Okay? And it was, you could tell, it's like the whole setup is like provoking me. You know what I mean? They thought I was physically gonna harm him. They thought that in their head. You know what I mean? They thought that's what I was going to do. Anyhow, I just looked around. I didn't want to look at him because I'm not one of these people who's fake, who would say hi to somebody who could not stand. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm 100% sure he's part of this wicked doers because you know what, he may not be even that, you know, Mr. Screw or whatnot, but he may not just be pretending. I don't know. I have no idea, but my my intuition has been on point all the time. Anyhow, I ignored him. I was walking toward the door. I was like, oh, you again. In my head, I looked. I was like, oh, not you again. I don't want to see you, man. But anyhow, I pretended I didn't even see him. And I was walking to the door, looking everywhere but him, like he did not even exist. And I got closer to the door, and look what he says. He's like, hi. And I'm like, man, don't say hi to me. You know what I mean? I'm not really interested to dealing with people from this building. You know what I'm saying? My heart in the right place. I cannot be fake. I cannot be fake pretending I like a person when I'm in deep inside cannot stand him. You know? That in the past I've done it at work. I used to pretend liking certain people, but I did not like them, you know? But it's not, I'm not in a workforce anymore. I don't have to pretend I like a person. If I do not like you, I do not like you. And it's done. You know, that's what I have changed about me. I cannot just fake it. So I looked at him, I was like, hi. And I was like, just opened the door and I walked in. And guess what? Before I even got to the elevator, he was walking in behind me. And I just went and pushed that button because I just don't want him to deal with, I don't want to deal with him. Anyhow, today I went to the coffee shop. He came in and you could tell he was sent there to provoke me one more, you know. And I just said, you know what? It's a public place. It's a coffee shop and it's a public place. I don't own the place, you know what I'm saying? And it's open for everyone who can want to get a coffee. They can get a coffee or whatnot. So I could not really, I just sat in a corner and I'm like ignoring. Look, there was a lot of people in the coffee shop, but I ignored him and stuff. And then I just look up and something just told me to look up. You know, sometimes when you're walking and you feel like somebody's staring at you from your backside. And then when you turn around, you find somebody looking at you. It was like that. I looked up and I see him like making eye contact with me, staring at me, Anyhow, I'm like, okay, here we go. They're playing this mind games. I'm not gonna play with you, you know what I'm saying, buddy? You know what I mean? I'm gonna let you swirl in your misery, Anyhow, I used to feel bad for him, okay? And honestly, I used to feel bad for him and stuff, and because I've seen how people treated him at the coffee shop. Sometimes he shout at people. He just go off. He go off, and this guy gave him a finger one time. I saw it, and I was gonna kind of go batting for him. Tell him, you know what? Don't you think he has a little bit of a problem? Why would you pick on somebody? He has sort of mental illness. I was gonna say it, kind of whisper it. Why would you do that? But then I just thought about it. I would not bat for him. If I see him in the street getting beaten, I'm gonna walk by and pretend I never saw it. Because I know he was sent there to annoy me. Yesterday and today, because he sat there, he even moved to a bench or little, booth, and he sat there. Every time I look up, he's staring at me. He's just sitting there eyeing me. Anyhow, I just ignored him and whatnot. And then he pack up his stuff and left. He never, we never. I saw him. I used to see him at this coffee shop not very often. He doesn't go there daily. I go there pretty much on a daily basis, right? But you could tell he's being, guided, on a string or a leash or whatnot, controlled through a remote control. Go do this, go do that. Anyhow, so if you watch that the Marvel X2, you'll see what I'm talking about. He's Jason Stryker, the who had hatred for his family and stuff. He was mentally ill. He was severely mentally ill. Anyhow, I included it. You guys can watch it and you understand what I'm telling you, because they put in people who has severe mental illness, because they found out someone who's severely mental illness, they have this gift that could penetrate or telepathy, through mind reading, or because they do have that. They usually mess with your energetic field because of they're kind of toxic people. You know what I mean? It's not a person you wanted to have to get to know or deal with. You understand? So watch it. Watch that X2 movie, Marvel X2, and then you'll understand. Jason, or type Jason Stryker, you understand who I'm talking about. And I think this is exactly what I'm dealing with here. But I don't let small stuff, get to me. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying things because I know they're listening, and I want to piss them off. That's what I enjoy. I live it and breathe it.